So here we are, a best of one, and spawning down in the bottom right hand position as the yellow Terran player. Representing MIA, it's frozz. And his opponent, to the top left of Frost, the green Protoss player. Representing DA Gaming, it's Exilium. Exilium is what I'm going to go with. I don't know why I'm getting so confused by that. Exilium. It's one of those words where sometimes it makes me feel like I'm possibly dyslexic or something, because I look at the word and just like, what? It's the ILI. My brain just can't seem to decipher it quickly. I don't know what's wrong with me. But anyway, this game, PvT, is gonna be very interesting, and the reason it's gonna be so cool is because PvT is a pretty good matchup, mainly due to the interactions between the different units and the specific stages of the game that you almost always go through unless you get some kind of all-in play or something very peculiar. So the three stages that I like to consider of PvT is stage 1, gateway units are fairly good when they're up against, just say, like Marines or Marauders down on the ground, until they get stim. Then you kind of get stimmed units and stimmed units with medevacs, where suddenly gateway units alone just aren't going to solve it. You need some splash as a Protoss player. That's stage 2, and that's when you start seeing some Colossi, maybe some High Templar with Storm, depending on which tech path. And then you get into stage 3, where it's all about the Terran army composition and how they try to deal with that play. And mostly they'll do that with a combination of Ghosts and Vikings and balance those up. The Ghosts are very good up against High Templar, and the Vikings very good against Colossi. So therefore you've got to balance that out. The Protoss player will balance out their Colossus and High Templar numbers in response to it. You've got some microing around Storms, you've got microing around Snipes and EMPs. It's just a very intense late game, and positioning and spellcasters really do make such a massive difference to how the game will go down. For the moment though, we're getting just a plain normal Reaper expand coming down out of frozz. This is letting him get some early scouting information. Exilium, he's just gone for a Nexus first, into a gate, into a double gas, so he's playing it pretty greedy. That's going to give him a nice economic lead over his opponent frozz, expanding off the back of this Reaper play. Means that he'll get his natural base down a lot later, and while he will have mules to help out, if the chrono boosts are consistently spent on the Nexus, that means that the probe production is going to skyrocket, and actually frozz will have a bit of a tough time to keep up economically. Now frozz comes in with a single SCV, going to get some very useful scouting information here that it was a Nexus first. His Reaper's going to come straight the way across, and because it's a Nexus first, there isn't a Mothership Core or a Stalker out yet, and that means that actually this Reaper can have a very fun time in the Protoss base trying to pick away at probes. Yes, a Zealot has come out, but Zealots really aren't very threatening to Reapers. Reapers are so much faster, they can kite with pretty much ease. So frozz just going to be kiting this around while keeping up solid macro back home. Chrono boosting out a Stalker, the Protoss player going to be trying to avoid this, already losing the odd bit of mining time, may lose a probe, is going to let one die there, which is a little bit frustrating. You don't really want to be taking damage if you can avoid it. frozz continuing on, getting some more good damage down at the moment. Just trying to delay as much of the attention of his Protoss opponent into dealing with this Reaper, while trying to get any free shots he can, but with the Stalker now out, there's very little choice but to fall back. Back at home, frozz has actually stopped his natural base. That was a massive misclick. I can't believe that wasn't coming down. Okay, frozz somehow stopped the production on that command center. That was a huge misclick for him, and as a result, his natural is massively delayed over that of his opponent. 26 to 22 workers, and while there is the orbital command down and the mule is being called, frozz is now going to be hurt economically due to this being just so ridiculously late. So, bit of a misstep there. And that actually gives Exilium a good little chance to try and pull ahead in the economy. He's also adding down the Twilight Council and the Forge, so he's going to be going quite upgrade heavy. Most likely going to be getting down the +1 armor upgrades here, and this Twilight Council will lead into a Templar Archives and High Templar with Storm, using charge lots to tank up some of that damage and potentially allowing for some kind of Zealot Archon transition into the mid game. The Reaper just coming up, trying to get a little bit of information. Did manage to see that the Forge was on its way, but didn't spot the Twilight Council. So a little bit of blindness there for frozz, not getting the complete picture of what his opponent is doing. But what frozz is doing, he's adding in the +1 infantry weapons. He's also adding in a factory, so he's starting to tech up. and we're actually not going to be seeing the Templar Archives, but instead a Dark Shrine. So DT is going to be coming out. These could be used for Archons. They could also be used for a good bit of fun. Exilium opting to put a Photon Cannon here, protecting the Dark Shrine that's hidden right at the back. And therefore, if frozz were to try to move in with this Reaper, for example, he'd be very unlikely to be able to get the scouting information down. We also have Charge on its way through, and seeing Charge, that could very likely lead into some kind of Zealot Archon play, and we'll see there that the Reaper does go down, but was not able to scout out that the Dark Shrine was there. However, frozz, he's moving across the map with a decent number of Marines. These, without a medevac, are most likely just a beta Photon Overcharge, and they are successful in doing that. The Mothership Core, now a long way off the energy requirements to use another, and with its slightly reduced, with its 60-second cooldown, or 60 seconds uptime, frozz is just going to pull back. He's baited that energy out, and that was his main aim. We can see though, Exilium, his main aim is to end this off of a 2-base play, adding in 5 additional gateways. That takes his grand total now up to what should be 6 gates, with the one he already had down, with of course the Dark Shrine and the +1 attack coming through. He's going to have a lot of damage output potential. This is before medevacs are out as well. The first 2 are just popping at the moment, and ultimately frozz could aim to try and do some damage with this little tile. A double drop would be very effective if he wanted to go in for that. Even if he doesn't actually go for the drop play, just getting these 2 medevacs to boost units across the map will make quite a difference on a big map like Frost. So for the moment, no sign of any proxy pylons, and frozz is keeping a good little eye out for those, running pretty much everywhere. But instead it's the DTs coming straight through the middle that he's going to have to worry about. Does he have energy for scans? Yes, 2. That's going to be very helpful for him in defending this. Although he hasn't yet seen it coming. He's added in missile turrets. So actually maybe he has seen it coming. We'll scan up here. The SCV is going to be trying to fight up against these DTs, but also lock them in place so the Marine and Marauder will be able to take them out, minimizing the losses taken. At the same time, frozz, he's counter-attacking with this double drop he picked up earlier. This is the main real state of his play. Going to be coming straight into the main base. Starts taking down pylons, and this is frustrating because that second pylon dying will supply block his opponent momentarily. Zealot's going to be trying to make their way through, but a quick little pickup should allow the retreat of these 2 medevacs. 3 Marines did die, but 3 Marines in exchange for those 2 pylons is going to be frustrating, specifically since we don't see any more pylons coming in production. This is about a 35-40 second supply block that Exilium really wouldn't have wanted. So other than that, small little slip up here by frozz. He does notice though he had 4 SCVs in his refinery rather than the 3. Any more than 3, for those who don't know, doesn't give any bonus to income you get from that gas. 3 is the limit. So now we're just seeing frozz move out yet again, going to be coming to check to see if he can actually do much damage, but this is quite a large Zealot Archon force. What's quite interesting with this force though is that it's only got +1 attack. A double drop is coming down yet again in the main base of Exilium. Exilium tried to respond to that with DTs, but now moving forward, going for the main damage, knowing that economically he may not be in the best spot. Wanna boosting all of his 6 gateways, trying to get a bit more income, but the pylon getting focused, that won't depower anything. Because actually, well, it'll depower 2 gateways. There's still 1 more pylon up though. A DT making short work of a lot of the stuff there. Proxy pylon taken out by these Marines and Marauders, trying to buy some more time, prevent Exilium from reinforcing. The 2 medevacs boosting back home, but those drops have been effectively cleaned up now. 3 ghosts are in production. That's going to really help against the DTs and the Archons. The reason against the DTs is because, of course, EMP does reveal cloaked units, but also against the Archons it knocks out their shields, and most of an Archon's health comes from the shields. Snipe is also a good option against Archons. Being psionic, it takes bonus damage from them. So this is looking very nice now for frozz. He's sitting in quite a comfortable spot. His economy is looking slightly down on that of his opponent, specifically in the gas, because he's only just now adding in that 4th gas geyser. But pushing forward, going to be trying to take a nice trade here. The Archon's getting some good shots down. No EMPs as of yet, just hitting now, and we can see just how effective that is. Reveals those 2 Dark Templar, and also knocks a lot of the shield energy down from those Archons. frozz continuing forward, he's up in army supply, 53 to 24. A couple of DTs going to be making their way through. Is there a scam? Because these DTs will make short work of this army very quickly. Down comes a scam though. A mule was also called, I believe accidentally, and with that dying, Exilium will GG out, and frozz will take the game and advance forward into the round of 32.